Senator Saslaw.
You know, Mr. President, I've heard a lot of stuff. I mean, that was a lot to digest, but there were just a few things in there that kind of caught my attention. Number one, if you remember, he said that there was $2.9 billion, that all estimates are about $2.3. If you remember, he also said that he talked about a group of who exceeded the poverty level from 139, that this covered people from 139 to 400% of the poverty level. In fact, it does not. It's up to people up to the 139%. And I'll tell you something else. Why do you all think that every major business organization in this state, every major business organization in this state, every hospital, all the medical schools, why do you think they're all coming in here in favor of expansion? Okay? Let me tell you why. Because they are about to get clobbered if we don't do this. Let me repeat that. They're about to get clobbered. When the ACA was put together, they agreed to an enormous amount of Medicare cuts. They agreed to, essentially, they lost their dish payments, okay? They are getting killed. All these hospitals around this state, not all, just about all, are being put under enormous financial stress. But let me tell you, the last hospital that's going to go under in this state is in my region. Virtually everyone else will close before that does, and it's not my constituents that are going to have to travel hundreds of miles if they need emergency help. I can tell you that right now. The other thing that you need to look at is this. They are going, and it's back to where I said why every major business organization supports this. Those people are going to get medical help. Make no mistake about it. If we don't do anything here this year, next year, the year after, and by the way, if we don't do anything this year, when we come back next year, count on it, it ain't going to be 25 states, it'll be 30. Another year later, it'll be 35. And of course, it doesn't seem to bother us. We're usually the last in everything to adopt a change. And everyone in here knows it. 49 states allow a governor to succeed himself, except this one. When we got elected school boards, we were number 46. We'll probably be the 50th to get casinos in this country. I don't want to be dead last on this, okay? These people are going to get medical care, and here's why the business community is totally behind Medicaid expansion. Because that money is going to be cranked into the costs that are handed by the healthcare industry and be handed off to the insurance companies the next year that are going to show up in your bill. You and I are paying for it. I'll tell you why I'm for Medicaid expansion, because I don't want to pay for these people anymore if I don't have to. The general practice, if you have a business, works like this. You get a 10% increase. Next year, you get a 10% increase again. The third year, it usually goes up about 20%, and then you start going around calling other healthcare companies, and you'll find somebody who invariably will keep you where you were for that year. Next year, they hit you with a 10%, and then a 10%, and then a 20%. And the people in here who run businesses know that's exactly the pattern that we have to live with. To turn down $2.3 billion, and by the way, in Marketplace, Virginia, they are told up front, if the government discontinues this money, the program's over. The program's over. And as far as the federal government forcing you to stay on that, the U.S. Supreme Court has already settled that issue a year and a half ago. It doesn't make any sense to continue doing business the way we are when we have the opportunity to get paid $2.3 billion, which is going to save the businesses in this state the cost of having this shifted to them. That's why these chambers of commerce are all in favor of this. Now, the the senator from Harrisonburg is right. There are a whole lot of things the federal government gets right, and believe you me, there's some changes that could be made here, but this isn't one of them. For us to turn this money down would be an absolute act of lunacy. Can you imagine somebody offering you as a businessman, those of you who here are, $2.3 billion, and you're going to tell them, nah, I don't want to do that. You're liable not to give me $2.3 billion next year. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? Mr. President, I hope we don't make this mistake of, not accepting this amendment. And yes, I'll yield for a question.